Hello. All right. Today we're going to be going over the quadratic formula. Besides fifth period, we really didn't go into detail about this. That's when I had my doctor's appointment, but um, let's get to it. So the quadratic formula for any quadratic, ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0, where a, b, and c are in the set of real numbers and a is not equal to 0, then the following is a solution or are solutions to this quadratic. X is equal to minus b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac all over 2a, or divided by 2a. So this is the quadratic formula, like I mentioned. Um, a lot of us, most of us went over this, and some of us that did take notes, awesome, in fifth period. If not, then that's also okay. Um, this is your opportunity. And if you didn't understand parts of it, because I know it's kind of hard just to kind of take notes, and some of us don't trust Mr. Norman, and that's okay because I don't either. We can go ahead and look at the following. All right, so let's go ahead. Let's put this to work. Now, some of you may be wondering, where does this 2 come from? Where does this 4 come from? This is derived by completing the square. As a lot of us know, that is our favorite thing. But we're not going to necessarily derive it just yet. There will be a different video where you can take a look at it. And if you want to show the proof for the quadratic formula, I may throw in some extra credit. So uh, I'll talk about that later. But let's go ahead and let's take a look at the following. Given the following quadratic, x squared minus 6x plus 8 is equal to 0. I want to do two things. I want to identify A, B, and C, and I also want to solve for x, for the values of x. Okay, so in this case here, okay, we have the following quadratic. Okay, I have the following quadratic. I have, let's take a look at the first part. Okay, x squared minus 6x plus 8 is equal to 0. All right, now that I have that there, what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and figure out what my coefficients are, what my a is, what my b is, and what my c is. Okay, in a quadratic, the squared term is the coefficient. If it's just x squared, we can assume that the coefficient is 1. Okay, this here, we have to make sure that we include our sign for b. Okay, so a is going to equal 1. B is going to equal -6. Okay, and C will equal +8, +8. Okay, so now what we've done, we identified our three terms, my A term, my B term, and my C term. What I'm going to go ahead and do next is I'm going to go ahead and put that into my quadratic equation. All right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and write it over here. My quadratic equation is x equals the opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. All right, now that I have that there, I'm going to write it over here for my x equals the opposite of, I'm going to put parentheses where a variable goes, and you'll see why in just a bit. The square root of something squared minus 4 times something times something. All right, and all of that over 2 times something. Okay, so if I'm going to go ahead and draw a line to separate my work. Okay, over here I have my this first parentheses, the opposite of whatever, right? In this case, it's going to be b. So my b is -6. -6 goes in there. And in here, this squared is also my b, which is -6. I'm going to go ahead and put that right in there. All right, I don't have any more b terms, so let's go ahead, let's put that down. Let's go ahead, let's take a look at my a terms. Okay, um, a is 1, so a goes right in here, and a goes right in here, and c is 8. So I'm going to go ahead and put 8 right in there. Okay, All right, now that we have that there, let's go ahead and let's simplify a little bit more. Okay, now at any point, you can say, hey, Mr. Hernandez, I don't know what you did here. Please explain. Hey, I'm more than happy to explain for you. Just let me know where you need help. Okay, so it's kind of hard, because right now we're not live. But um, if it's like, hey, this step, I don't know where you got this from. Let me know. Let's simplify a little bit. Okay, so x equals. I have this, my opposite of -6 is +6, plus or minus the square root of -6 squared is 36 minus -4 times 1 is -4. -4 times 8 is -32, -32. All of that over 2 times 1, which is 2. All right, look, everything is falling nicely into place. Let's go ahead and let's finish this up. All right, I'm going to go ahead and scroll this up a little bit. All right, let's go ahead, let's simplify. X is equal to 6 plus or minus 36 minus 32 is 4 all over 2. All right, and we know that the square root of 4 is equal to 2. So x is equal to 6 plus or minus 2 over 2. So now we have to take into account our both operations, addition and subtraction. In other words, x is equal to 6 plus 2 over 2, or x is equal to 6 minus 2 over 2. Here, this here is 8 over 2, x equals 4, or this one right here is 4 over 2, which is equal to 2. Solution set 2, 4. Now, if I were to graph these on Desmos or any graphing calculator, let me go ahead and make this a little bit bigger. Make this a little bit bigger. Okay. If I were to graph this on Desmos, this is my quadratic right here. Check it out. These are what we call zeros, or we call roots. And these essentially are the solutions to our quadratics, right? If you take a look at our solution set, we have x equals 2 and x equals 4. These are the value of x when y equals 0. These are what we call our x-intercepts, right? And so this is what I want you to take a look at when we're dealing with these here. All right, so let's go ahead. Let's take a look at another one. Okay, let's take a look at another one. Let me minimize this a little bit more. All right, right over here. Let's get a new canvas. All right. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead. In this case, we're not going to identify the a and the b, but rather we're going to go ahead and solve 3x squared plus 8x is equal to -3. Now this here is not in standard form. In order for this to be in standard form, I need to have my quadratic equal to 0. In this case here is equal to -3. So what I need to do is I need to make sure that this is equal to 0. So I need to rewrite in standard form, okay, which is ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. In order to do that, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to rewrite this right over here. Okay, and in order to do that, what I'm going to go ahead and do is, sorry, I had to get my other marker or my other pen. Okay, so what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to add 3 to both sides. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and add 3 to both sides. So let's go ahead and let's do that. All right, so I have to add 3 here, add 3 there. I didn't leave any room to add 3. Okay, if we take a look at my 3's on the right, those cancel, right? That's a 0 pair, leaving me with 3x squared plus 8x plus 3 is equal to 0. Now it's in standard form. Now we can go ahead and solve for this here using the quadratic formula. Make a note that my quadratic formula is equal to the opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Okay, let's go ahead and let's identify what a is. Okay, so a is equal to 3. We're going to change it up. We're going to make it purple. All right, b is equal to 8. All right, nice and orange right there. And c is equal to 3. Now that I have my three values, a, b, and c, what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and substitute those values into my quadratic equation right over here. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's do that. So x is equal to the opposite of b, which is the opposite of 8. Okay, the opposite of 8 plus or minus the square root of 8 squared. Now, earlier I did include parentheses, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that so I can keep it consistent. Minus 4 times something times something. I'm going to extend my square root, okay, all over 2 times something right in here. All right, 4ac. A is 3, 3, and c is also 3, okay? C is also 3. All right, there we go. So now let's go ahead and let's simplify a little bit, okay? So x is equal to negative 8 plus or minus. All right, we have the square root of 28. And if you're wondering, hey, Mr. Hernandez, where'd you get 28 from? Right here. Okay, if we check it out, this is 8 squared minus 4 times 3 times 3. If I were to enter that into my calculator, check it out. Parentheses 8 squared, okay, minus 4. And if you enter it into a calculator just like I am, you'll see that you end up with the same thing. Check it out, 28. So that's how I got that 28 right there. Okay, let's finish it up. Okay, this all over 6. All right, all over 6. Now let's go ahead and let's simplify a little bit more. If you recall from simplifying radical expressions, this right here is 2 root 7. If you're wondering, well, hey, where'd you get 2 root 7 from? Make a note that once you do the prime factorization, this right here is equal to 2 root 7. That's where I got that 2 root 7 from. All over 6, right? All over 6. Now, I do want you to make note, okay? Note, okay, negative 8, 2, and 6 have a common factor. So I'm going to go ahead and simplify a little bit more. Okay, they have a common factor. I'm going to simplify a little bit more. Now the 2, I could simplify it because it's a coefficient, right? This is equivalent to saying 2 times the root of 7, or square root of 7. So I can go ahead and do that. So now let's go ahead and let's simplify a little bit. All right, these simplify, so they're all divisible by 2. So negative 8 simplifies to negative 4. 2 simplifies to 1, and 6 simplifies to 3 if I divide each of those by 2, right? So x is equal to negative 4 plus or minus the square root of 7 all over 3. Solution set, right? My solution set right over here is going to be negative 4 plus root 7 all over 3. Negative 4 minus root 7 all over 3. Now, let's go ahead and see what this looks like, okay? I know that I have square roots, right? So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to find the approximation of these roots, right, of these solutions to this quadratic, right? And you'll see something similar to what we did in the previous one, right? Divided by 3. This is my first solution. And let's take a look at my second solution. I have minus 4 minus root 7. All right, let's go ahead. Let's close that parentheses up and divide by 3, right? It looks very similar. So look, the solutions to this here, if I take the approximation, is negative 0.4514162296 and negative 2.215250437. It goes on forever. Now let's go ahead. Let's take a look at the graph here. Let me extend this a little bit. And let me go ahead and let's take a look at this quadratic here. Check it out. These are my two solutions here, right? These are exact values over here, and this is what I want you to have them for now. But if I were to take an approximation of these roots, if we take a look at our calculations, look at this exact same thing, right? Or just a rounded answer. But that is essentially what we're doing when we're finding solutions to these quadratics. We're finding these values of x when y equals 0. All right.